Salisbury here, Unpaved with Sean Salisbury, and get to JB and Triple E, producer and my sidekick here in just a second. We got a hell of a show for you today, and thanks so much for an unbelievable debut yesterday. We're a little late today, but you know what happens? A little technical. We got wind blowing all over the country. We got it here, but we got it settled. So thank you to Rumble and the IT. That won't happen again. Now, we'll give you this hardcore hour. We got Cleveland Browns on our mind. What are they going to do with the 2 pick? We got Pete Rose on our mind, Hall of Fame. And why isn't he? We'll have that debate as well as talking about women in men's sports, or should I say men and women's sports? I guess you could go either way, but men and women's sports. And why are we still here? Why are we still here? A bunch of people in D.C. decided that they want their sons or their biological sons or your biological sons to go play with the women. We're going to talk that, and I imagine my partner's got a big old opinion on that. And we'll talk a little bit about Jimmy Johnson and congratulate him on a hell of a career. And Davante Adams is now a free agent. Who's jumping in on that fray? And I got a major wrath today and a major in my craw. The Dallas Mavericks just don't friggin' get it. They just don't friggin' get it. This new ownership is so screwed. Kyrie Irving goes down, that part, the trade, they got fleeced on that. Our best to Kyrie Irving, ACL. But we're going to talk about they've raised their ticket prices, their season ticket prices, and we are going to torch them today. Talk about somebody who doesn't know the room. It's the Dallas Mavericks. Let me bring in JB, Coach JB. You get him on Twitter as well. JB, welcome in, brother. It's great to have you on and great to be with you. I think you're there. Please tell me you're there.
I'm here, brother.
Okay. Got to punch up is your picture up? Can you see me? And just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
I see you.
I am, first of all, JB, let's start here. Let's start on the football side of this real quick to get it out of the way, and we'll get to some hardcore stuff. Great start yesterday. Davante Adams out. That Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers experiment didn't work very well in New York. The question I have is we're talking about still, I think, a top-end receiver. He's not, Jamar Chase, and he sure as hell isn't Jefferson either, but still a good player. What's he worth? He's going to be on a free agent market. I can think of some teams that could use him. A lot of teams could use him. How much tread's left on that big-ass tire?
I think there's some tread left. Rumors I'm hearing, talking to Weddle and having him on my show weekly, who talks to Sean McVay often, rumors are that he was going to be a Ram. Now, him with Stafford makes perfect sense, Sean. I don't know what you think, but also, if you're looking at it from that point of view, I got to say, would that be a slap in Cooper Kupp's face for saying that you're older, you're a little injury prone, we're going to move on from you? And they put Cooper Kupp on the trade block, obviously, as he's getting shopped as we speak. Is that just a kind of a swap there for Cooper and Davante? Sean King, who's on my show, he thinks Davante's an upgrade from Cooper Kupp right now at this stage. I tend to agree. I think Davante's still an A1 route runner. And he's still a huge body. He had 100 catches, I believe, again, or 1,000 yards at least last year with Aaron Rodgers to finish the season strong. So I can see it, Sean. I can see him still there being a big-time contributor somewhere. But he needs a QB, Sean. Needs a QB.
Yeah, and Stafford would be a good one. I get why the Rams. And as far as the truth of the matter is, and I don't mean this disrespectful to Cooper Kupp, I don't give a shit if it's a slap in the face, and neither will they. If we're putting you on the trading block, we don't give a damn what you think. Now, I do think a team a Cooper Kupp, if somebody will trade for him, he can go and help somebody out with where he doesn't have to be the number one. And he obviously was no longer Puka is with the Rams. But Davante Adams also gives you more bandwidth on the perimeter. Cooper Kupp operates inside, can do both. But I like Davante Adams' versatility. I do think there's tread on the tires. I do. Hell, I'd love him back with my Raiders with a different quarterback, but they got to get one there. The Rams is a good one. I'll tell you another one that would be a great place, and not just because I'm local, but looking at it. Stroud, took a step back a little bit, as did their new offensive coordinator. And where'd he come from? The Rams. They'll know the same get, right? You don't have to trade for him and give up an asset for Davante Adams. It's not going to cost you $25 million. You also remember now, we both think Nico Collins is a beast. Your guy, Tank Dell, is not going to play this year. That was a gruesome injury that he had. You're still figuring out with Hutchinson and with Mechie where they are in the infancy of their career trying to get rolling. And then Dalton Schultz, what a disappointment. If you're going to just be a pass catcher and you shit the bed when you're trying to block me and you can't, That position's got to expand. It just does. So they need to go get somebody in the draft there. But Davante Adams, what a good fit. While you're waiting, you still get a dominant perimeter outside guy. Now, who are you going to double with Davante Adams and Nico Collins? So that's just a couple ideas right there, JB, that I think that Davante's got to. And if you're Davante, you want to go to a team that can win. Now that you're cut and you're free, you also want to go to a team with a quarterback who's going to get you to football because you want some incentives along with the contract you're going to get, since it's not going to be via $25 million a year.
Let me throw a team at you. At this stage, do you think Davante needs to be indoors or outdoors? Does it matter? Because Sam Darnold from one of your former teams, Minnesota, did not get tagged. I'm wondering about how that ends up. Are they going to try to keep him? I think that's his best spot for him. But do you like Davante there with the Justin Jefferson and the Addison, an SC guy?
Yeah, listen, JB, I'm agree. First off, I don't really give a damn if he's inside or outside. He was pretty good outside with Rodgers. I mean, those gloves can catch a ball 4 feet out of the catch radius. So that's one. Two, if you throw him in there with Jefferson, and regardless who the quarterback is, and Davante Adams, and you have that bandwidth, defensive coordinators are going to just trying to defend it and putting in the game plan and being able to run the ball more effectively. With Sam Darnold, real quick, do I think Sam Darnold would benefit, or J.J. McCarthy from Davante and Jefferson? Hell yes. And I think both of those guys would benefit. Okay, so you get 94 catches instead of 110, but you get more yards, more touchdowns, and more singles depending on who the guy is and who you're going to roll the coverage to, which would probably be Jefferson. But the Darnold thing not getting tagged, and I didn't think he was going – until the last 2 games, I thought that was the best thing for the Vikings, JB, was to tag Darnold. He had a hell of a year. You want to prove it year. You don't want to give him a long-term $50 million a year because you want another year for him today. Even though you and I love him, I'm talking about from the Minnesota Vikings standpoint. You say, well, we drafted a number 1. He hasn't played a lick, and he's a hell of a player, J.J. McCarthy, but it's still the NFL. He's got a learning curve, and he's going to come, and he's a winner. But do we really know if he's going to be ready to do what they want? We don't. And right now, he's not a better thrower of the football than Darnold, and that's a fact. So you're a Minnesota team, had a playoff run. The only reason Darnold didn't get tagged, and possibly even a bigger contract, at least a longer term or maybe 3 years or a 2-year bigger one, is because the last 2 games. He went to Detroit, they pissed down their leg, and then in the playoffs, they didn't play well. It's not just Sam, but he did not play well, and that was the lasting effect. I go on every week in Minnesota. That's a big problem. But if you're going to keep him, then pay him. You may not have to pay him 50, but pay a reasonable amount in a short-term deal. You get McCarthy, let him compete, and let McCarthy sit until he proves he can. But they may not even do that. Franchise tag would have cost him, $42 million or something in that range. And I think it probably would have been worth it for a year. But they're thinking already, the last thing they remember, as good as Sam was the last 2 games. So they're going to I think they're going to move on, find a backup veteran, and turn it over to McCarthy the second he's fit and ready to go, which leads me to a guy after 31 years in the broadcast booth, Jimmy Johnson, JB. Jimmy Johnson, 31 years at Fox. Obviously, he's won in the national championship with Miami. He's won 2 Super Bowls with the Cowboys, and really a third one that they turned over to Barry, and they'd have won more if Jimmy had stayed there. But congrats to Jimmy on a hell of a run. 81 years old. He deserves to stay out on that yacht that looks like yours, although yours is in the Pacific Ocean. His is out there, I don't know, with the intercoastal waterway or out there, the Atlantic, loving life. But kudos to a Hall of Famer and one hell of a talent evaluator in Jimmy Johnson on his retirement from Fox.
Miami legend, Cowboy legend. I saw the playmaker Michael Irvin at an event not too long ago. He said he would have 3 or 4 more rings if Jimmy did not depart ways in Dallas. And obviously we know Steve Kim comes on my show. He said he could have went 50-0 over a 5-year span if he didn't leave Miami, the talent that he brought in there. So obviously we know where he's done every level. Him and Pete Carroll, I believe, right? The only 2 to win Natties and Super Bowls.
Yeah, he did it without NIL too at Miami, but then again, they had their own private NIL, if you know what I mean.
That's the way we liked it, Sean, under the table.
Yeah, hey, I need to go back. I need to go back to my recruiting days, dude, and get paid.
I'd like to go back to fucking Pony Express days.
You're damn right. I do. A couple of years behind the Dickerson, Lance McElhenney, and Craig James days, but damn, not bad. I don't want a Trans Am with the bird on the hood. Those are friggin' played out, okay? Those are played out. JB, let me switch to the Browns. I think the Browns fan base. I can remember going in there. We played them in the playoffs in the dog pound. Our guy Bernie was there, and they would Clay Matthews. They were nasty. Think how many times they've been through quarterbacks where first rounds, hopes go up, hopes get shot. Hopes go up, hopes get shot. You had Baker, played well first year, struggled the second year, played well the third year. Fourth year struggle, run him out, go get Watson, give him $230 million guaranteed. And that's been nothing but a shit show from day one. And he has played, when he's been on the field, he's been just a guy. And now Myles Garrett wants out. That team's got some gifts, man. And I don't mean gifts like we're making fun of them I'm talking about gifts with a T. They've got some players.
Roster talent.
The quarterback's been a problem. And how Andrew Berry is still, listen, I don't know how you continue to milk this and say that was a good move. That was the worst contract, not only in the NFL, but right now it sits as the worst contract in NFL history.
Ever.
Anthony Rendon with the Angels ain't half bad himself. You talk about stealing money right now in Anaheim. So that being said, with the Cleveland Browns, let's start here. Do you draft with the second pick a quarterback?
And I would say
he's hurt again. You
not
can't.
This draft.
Okay, so who are you taking? Hunter, another position with the second? Are you trading out of it to somebody else so somebody can get in there and you go down? What are you doing?
There's two options. Number one, for me, I'm taking Abdul Carter, either A, to be on the other side of Myles Garrett to entice Myles to stay. We got the two best pass rushers in football. Or
how are you putting away a pass rusher? You're putting Abdul Carter as the best pass rusher in football, and the dude hasn't even pissed a drop in a league.
Well,
I know you're parlaying.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
Yeah. Or he's my Myles Garrett replacement. It's one of the two, Sean. I can't lose fucking Myles Garrett and not replace him. And I have a replacement at number 2 because I doubt Tennessee takes him at 1, even though I think Abdul Carter is that talent in this particularly bad QB and wide receiver draft. As bad as I've seen wideouts and QBs tandemly in the draft, this is as bad as I've ever seen it. So I would not take that, number 1. Number 2, Deshaun Watson on that contract thing, I get what you're saying. But if they're going to draft a guy, why the hell didn't they just keep Jameis Winston for a 1-year bridge? Because they're going to have to go get somebody older, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, somebody out there, Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold now. Who do they get? And I think they go that route and save that pick on a quarterback and go get you Abdul Carter at the 2 spot.
Yeah, too many ifs with the quarterback in this draft. There just are. To me, 10 years from now, when Hunter and Abdul Carter are playing against the quarterback, and when we say who had a better career, he's going to have a better career than the quarterback does. He'll impact them better. Now, whether Myles Garrett decides to stay because it's still dysfunctional, whether they the bridge, but it's the Cleveland Browns. This is what their fans have had to endure, just shit show after shit show. And with us sitting back saying, why the hell are they doing this? So listen, we say why the Cleveland Browns every year. Why the Cleveland Browns? They just haven't been able to hit. And I know when they got Watson, they thought all the off-field stuff. We're getting a monster on the field, and he's played like a minion, not a monster. So,
Sean, let me ask you a question on your philosophy deal. Am I tripping when I say this? Like each team in this top 10, including your Raiders and obviously other teams, are we not selecting either a need position for our roster, or B, the best available player, or C, the best athlete? Travis Hunter is the best athlete. I've been arguing this on my show all week in the draft. But the best player in the draft may not be that. They may need a different player at that position for that particular team. The Cleveland Browns don't get anything with Travis Hunter, in my opinion. They got too many holes. Same with the Raiders, right? Same with some other teams. They need quarterbacks. They need O-line. So, do you go in with that philosophy?
That's a brutal division, too, JB. That's a motherfucker in that division.
You got Burrow and Lamar, and now who's Pittsburgh going to get? Aaron Rodgers? Who knows?
Right.
So, there's a lot of holes. I think you got to draft the best position or best player for your needs at that number 2 spot,
right.
And that would be Abdul Carter.
I love best available when it happens, but for me, like when Denny drafted Randy Moss, you remember people kept passing on him. He had Chris Carter and Jake Reed. They had good receiving core, and he said, "Screw that, we're not letting that guy get away." And they let that draft pick get down to him. The rest is history. So in this draft, to me, it's the best athlete. Push that aside. That to me, that is third when it comes to the Cleveland Browns right now. Yeah, great athlete, but we're not running a superstars competition. I'm looking for a football friggin' player that can impact my team as a rookie. I can't draft the second pick of this draft and have him be a guy that we're going to bring him along. Your ass. He starts the second the draft is over, and you play him. And if that's Abdul Carter, who may very well be the best football player in this draft, not as good a football player and impact. And they may have to cover Myles Garrett. They may have to trade him. But if the one thing that Cleveland, if they are tempted to move Garrett, the one thing they're going to get that they lost with the Watson trade is a bunch of assets. They are going to get some players from Myles Garrett if they move him. Now, unless it's a 1-for-1 for another dominant player. But if you're going after assets and the rest of it, then you are going to get, I think JB's screen froze a little bit. You are going to get assets for Myles Garrett. And so I think that's going to be really, really important what Cleveland does. And the reason I say Cleveland, the fans, I friggin' love them. I just do. And it just seems that every time we turn around, they can't screw this up. They cannot screw this up. But to talk about the holding pattern and how they have been so hogtied by the Watson mistakes.
Did we lose each other?
What's that? Yeah, I think you froze up on your screen, brother. We're all good here. Let me get through this. Our great studio sponsor. And guys, once again, we're moving in as we designed some really big, cool warehouse vintage type studios that are going to be not the sterile kind. I can't wait till they're done and we'll get it worked out. But Premier Gold's our studio sponsor, as well as one of our great advertisers on here. I love them. I spent my career, in football, you make quick decisions under pressure. Now that I'm off the field, I don't have to make as many quick decisions, but the pressure, it's still there and bigger than ever for all of us, right? When it comes to the financial world, it's my retirement, my savings, and everything I've worked for instead of running around getting chased by guys that are 350 pounds and run a lot faster. So I keep asking myself, with everything going on in the market, is my retirement safe? Aren't you guys asking the same thing? Is it enough? How do I protect what I worked so hard to build? Back in the day, the biggest concern was reading a defense and dodging sacks. But now there's a lot more on the goal line and at stake. And it is for you too. One wrong play with the finances can set you back years. And I've seen so many hardworking Americans, we hear it every day, you read about it, that put their wealth into 401ks and IRA accounts, which is great, but trusting they'd be there when it was over. But over the years, you see markets take a hit, then another. And in election years, all that stuff that goes on. And then you watch your retirement take a hit too. And depending on where you are, that ain't good. And on a bad day on Wall Street can mean years of losses for your retirement. The older I get, the harder it is to bounce back from. Not because you don't want to, it's just because it just is when you suffer losses later on. That's when I realized you got to have a playbook, just like you do on the field. And that's centered around financial security. And it isn't just about building wealth. It's about keeping it and protecting it. And that's why I've teamed up with Premier Gold. They've helped countless people and folks just like you and me protect what we've worked for with physical gold, real tangible assets that stand the test of time. Inflation, market swings, national debt, all of it eats away at your retirement savings. And you know that because you guys that are sitting there watching this are saying, it hit me too, Sean. Not precious metals. Physical gold and silver can provide security and freedom. And Premier Gold makes it easy for retirees to own gold, offering expert guidance, a simple rollover process, and no hidden fees. Key, no hidden fees. They're not going to gouge you like others may. If you're close to retirement already there, you need a plan to protect you and yours. Just like in the game, timing is everything. It's just not a game anymore. It's your future. It's your legacy. It's your life. So don't wait till it's too late. Go visit premiergoldco.com. That's premiergoldco.com, premiergoldco.com, our studio sponsor, and they're going to be around for a long time with us and hopefully for you as well. All right, JB, I just mentioned at the end there before you cut out, bringing you back in here, and you can see the website down at the bottom to go on there and put that precious metal in your hand. JB, is it to go out and get assets they're going to get for, if they do trade him, Myles Garrett? I would love to have, because to me, it's quarterback. I know it's the left or right tackle, but if you're not disruptive on defense, then it becomes a problem. Triple E, is JB back or is it just freezing again?
Yeah, I'm right.
Yes, sir. He should be there.
Yeah, there you go. Put him on camera for me. So there you go. So with that, JB, I mean, while the Browns may not be a Super Bowl threat, they do have a really good asset sitting there to bring more in a great player. Question is, do they have the balls to move him? I'm not sure I would. I'd want to force him to stay.
Yeah, I don't know if I think he's kind of reached the precipice, I guess, kind of how you discussed the Cleveland fan base having to endure all this for so long, Sean. Would you be advising him as an agent to leave? Like he's your player, and he's probably fed up as well. Here's a rumor I'm hearing, Sean, from a couple people. Michael Mayer is available for the Raiders. A lot of people are interested. They're interested in him. Would you trade him? If you're Pete Carroll, a defensive guy, I mean, he's got to be salivating and getting Myles Garrett alongside Max Crosby, wouldn't he not?
Yeah, but not you, but they're on crack out there if you think I'm giving Myles Garrett up for a backup tight end to Brock Bowers. He's a good player.
No, it's going to have to be more. But I'm saying,
he's young.
First-round pick. Yeah.
Clear a little space for him. And he's a good football player. He just ran into a full-blown grown-ass man in Brock Bowers. Here's the way I feel, JB. Myles Garrett signed a big contract, right? And so he's under contract. That player empowerment we mentioned yesterday and people talk about all the time. Do you think players have the balls to sit out a full season? How many have those balls? If it's me and I'm the general manager and I love Garrett, I want him wherever, I don't want him on my team. But if it's me, just business-wise, he doesn't get to dictate this. And if he decides to hold out of camp, he'll get fined, and eventually he'll get tired of getting hit in the wallet, and he'll show up, and I don't know how long it'll go, and hopefully they'll do whatever they can. But I'm not going to especially I'm not trading you unless now I'm going to dangle him if he wants to go, if he's not passionate about being there, but I'm not letting him dictate where he go. Well, nope, I don't want to get traded there, or I'm going to hold out. For me, it comes down to simple. Yeah, okay, let me get some feelers out there on possible trade. And if somebody gives us a great haul, I'll let one of the best pass rushers, if not the best in the league, go. But I'm not going to give him away, one. Two is he's under contract. We get to the point where we keep pleasing these dudes and letting them dictate where they go. If we get a great deal, fine. If not, you're either going to be in a Browns uniform or your ass is sitting at home.
Sean, you and I think the same. That's why I was shocked that you and the Shedeur Sanders not throwing yesterday. I thought this is the same thing. Player empowerment, I think we've allowed to get out of hand. And You saw this with Brandon Ayuk last year in Frisco. You saw it with Deebo Samuel just the other day as he demanded a way out. Washington got him for a string cheese and a Chico stick, basically nothing, a fifth rounder. These guys demanding this, and this is I say it all the time, Sean, you and I used to say it on our old show. It's the first time it's transcending upward. Usually the trendsetter is the NFL, and then college adapts it, and then you see high school kids do it. Now high school kids are transferring 4 times in 4 years. College has the portal, which everybody's transferring, and now we're seeing contracted guys demand trades in the NFL level, which you and I never saw before. That is why I say player empowerment is ruining this, and at some point we got to reel this rein in and say, hey, man, you're staying here. I mean, we've just seen it over the last few years now get it out of hand. So to your point, we see eye to eye on that. I wouldn't let him go either. But at the same time, if he's going to bitch and moan and be a headache, as you and I know, it takes one bad apple to ruin the whole batch. Is he worth it? So is it addition by subtraction? Let me get rid of his ass like Buffalo did Stephon Diggs, and look what Josh Allen did in the Buffalo offense. They excelled even more.
Yeah. Listen, I'm all for it if I get the right stuff. If somebody call me up, I'll answer the friggin' phone. But I'm not. I'm not giving it away. Yeah, because you decided if you want to sit your ass at home during football season, guess what? You ain't getting paid.
Right, to your point, he ain't a second backup tight end. This guy is fucking the premier guy. So
he's one of the 10 best football players in the league.
So I need a lot.
Yep, agreed. All right, JB, let me switch over to this Pete Rose thing. I'm not even talking about the President Trump pardon, which is great, and I know President Trump loves him, puts out a tweet, put Pete Rose in. This has been feels like a lifelong debate. I'll get out in front of this. As we say, this show is transparent, it's honest, and it's different than you're used to. The bullshit you're used to getting on TV where we throw it against the wall and hope it sticks, and we argue just to argue, and we yell just to yell, and we disagree just to disagree because it looks good and we're fighting, and they don't even believe half the shit they tell you. But we do. And it's always going to be that way. So let me be transparent with this. I've known Pete Rose a long time. God rest his soul. Knew him a long time. We've done some shows together. He tells one of the best storytellers. He sat in studio with me on a show, and we did 2 hours with him and Tony Perez, and it was one of the great broadcasting thrills of my life. And I'm devastated that he's gone. I know Pete was arrogant as a player, but that's what made him great. All-star, 4 or 5 positions. Hell, the guy has 3,000 singles, let alone 4,000 plus hit as the hit king. That's couple things are never going to happen again once, whether it's Zach Greinke, but Justin Verlander is out. We are never seeing 300 wins again from a pitcher. Going back to what we talked about yesterday, you only expect 5 2/3 and they're a fucking hero. That's never happening again. We're not getting maybe I should say never say always or never, but there's a real good chance. And Verlander's going to struggle to get to his 300. That's one. Getting the 3,000 hits to play that long and that good, that well, and stay that healthy is tough. That may happen again. Altuve's pushing that. There's some players that are pushing that. But I'm telling you that Pete Rose did it all. Now, you can disagree with his arrogance. He broke banned for life. When you're banned for life, that's what it says. I mean, it's amazing. We hold betting, and listen, I like to bet and the rest of it. It says on we've seen it on NFL doors. Hey, gambling not allowed. You cannot gamble. And in baseball, you're banned for life if you do. Well, the hypocrisy of it, number one, is, do you know in the Hall of Fame, Pete Rose has got either bat or ball. Certain things that he's done is sitting in the Hall of Fame. Same with Barry Bonds. It's sitting in the Hall of Fame. Stuff they've used in their career. But these pricks will use their stuff to get people to go to the Hall of Fame. But the hypocrisy of keeping them out. Now, that's up to the voters there's some great voters, but there's also some ego-filled, I didn't get an interview with Bonds or I didn't get an interview with Rose. So they're pissed. So they're going to play the hardliner and keep them out just because they can. I understand. I have zero interest in arguing with somebody who says, Sean, I'm just not, and Hall of Fame voters, Sean, I'm just not going to vote for him. It said lifetime ban. Great. I have respect your opinion. But if you're telling me that and I know it's personal, then there's an issue, right? To me, if it's personal because you got snubbed, then you're just a dumb shit, okay? Now, arrogant, took him a while to be remorseful. I talked to Pete one time. He said, Sean, I'm not going to get a bust in there. But as everybody said, he knew he was a Hall of Famer. He just didn't have in the Hall of Fame. We need to tell the story. That's part of baseball. It's not a Hall of Fame without these guys. Tell the story. He gambled on baseball. He was banned for life. Oh, and by the way, one little hint.
That's the thing. On his own team, though, not others.
Right. Hell, if I want somebody, I'd sure as hell love you to bet me to win. Shit. And the hypocrisy is that we're making billions with advertising on fences, but you can't bet, but I still want your shit in the Hall of Fame. All right, banned for life. Pete Rose is dead. Doesn't the ban end? We can't let his family or the people who loved him or his Cincinnati Reds teammates enjoy him in the Hall of Fame. That's banned for life, depending on what level of spirituality you're at. Banned for life means death do us part. Then Pete Rose, well, he's been banned for life. He's dead now. So we're going to make the people after him suffer too, huh? Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. It's crooked and it's criminal that he's not. And it's chicken shit that he's never going to get to enjoy the fruits of his labor. We'll allow somebody to rape and domestic violence, punch somebody and do that. And we'll let them back in a year, 6 months. Banned for life. We take gambling to win. And I know it's a serious offense. Don't misunderstand. But with all this billions that are coming in now, and I'm a bettor, I love to gamble. But with all of it coming in now, rules like, hell, people tried to change the Constitution. With rules changing, a ban for life, isn't there remorse? Isn't there at some point in time forgiveness? Isn't there at some point in time, at least like you're trying to get somebody on parole when Pete was alive, walk him through it, which I'm sure they've had those conversations, obviously. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, and I'll stand by it, not just because he's a friend, because of what he did for baseball. Tell the story on a plaque in the Hall of Fame of why it took so long and that he did what he wasn't supposed to do. Now that he's dead, that lifetime ban should be over. Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame, JB.
I hate that we're gonna let him in after he's passed, and it's chicken shit. To your point, like I almost like, you know what? Fuck it.
Keep me out. Just keep me out.
Like, keep me out. Like, fuck, this is such a joke. We always do it after. Here's my issue, Sean. We got guys gambling on the NFL every year, and they're out for a year. But we got guys hitting females, and they're back in 4 games, 6 games, 8
Raping
games.
people, female, right?
I mean, it's such a joke. Pete Rose, man. I mean, I don't know. I met him only one time. Field trainings here in Long Beach. The guy belongs in, like you said. It should have been in. And isn't this the epitome of what guys are doing now, though? Reggie Bush got his Heisman back, and what else? NIL. Johnny Manziel, what did he do when he played? Before NIL, he sold 1 million jerseys. Guess what he's getting now? Retribution. NIL kicked in, right? Name, image, and likeness. Isn't this the same thing? Isn't this guy supposed to be in the Hall of Fame? Because like you said, shit changes, times evolve, and rules get changed. The guy should have been in.
Yeah. Hey, JB.
A long time ago, should be in now.
JB, well, remember, I want to ask them this. If we change things, wasn't it in baseball? And I know it's a little bit, it's apples to oranges, but we've got so many gimmicks now. We got a bigger base. We got this bullshit COVID stuff that because of COVID, here's my favorite. During COVID, we're going to put a guy on a runner on second in extra innings because COVID hit different at 9:45 at night than it did at 4 in the afternoon. Now, Dr. Fauci, you're a fucking idiot, okay?
Stay 5 feet away, though. 6 feet.
What's that?
Stay 6 feet. If you're 6 foot, if you're 5'11", you can get sick. But at 6 feet,
favorite, by the way, not to rehash it, but these gimmicks you're talking about. Hey, I got a great idea. At 10 o'clock, it hits a little different. So let's not pay these guys and play extra innings for the guys that make $750 million in their career.
900 a night.
But we can't listen. It's too much of a grind. That fifth at bat's a bitch for these guys. We've got to stop it. We've got to put a runner on second. Let's gimmick it up and let's do it because they love offense. Pitchers get hosed all the way around. It's absolutely nuts. So those gimmicks, rules change all the time. Well, this was a baseball law, I understand. But over the course of all these years, there's got to be some give and take. And now that the guy's dead and doesn't get to enjoy it, it's a shrine, JB. The Hall of Fame's not just for the players. The Hall of Fame's for fans to go in. And anybody who watched Pete Rose play, here's the irony of it. Nobody played the game more right when it was on the field than Pete Rose.
Yeah.
So it's 6 1/2 dozen the other. The bottom line is I think he served his time. Right?
There's so many. We've let so many. Like we've had the Donahos or whatever. All these gambling guys.
The referee, yeah.
A referee, Sean, and he's now helping the NBA fucking do things.
Yeah, find the cheaters. Right.
Yeah,
he's basically a mafia informant that's now working for the government.
So yeah, that's not a slapping fucking Pete Rose's face and professional sports face. I don't know what is, but that's literally gambling. Which, by the way, if you look, the NFL, the NBA is sponsored by who? DraftKings, FanDuel.
And amen, and it should be. Why wouldn't it be? And I'll tell you what, guess what they're not doing? They ain't giving that check back. I promise you that. They're not
keep Pete Rose, who made you the money. Pete Rose made you guys the money. They'll keep him out.
There you go. So, hey, this is a great debate, and there's a lot of people who disagree, and I 100% get it. But as long as that's just the way you feel, it's like the guy who votes, and you know you should get a unanimous vote, and a guy doesn't give a guy unanimous vote just to be an asshole. I almost feel if you're doing it for the right reasons, then don't vote him in. But if you're doing it for play on the field and forgiveness, we forgive everything. We're not going to forgive this after all these years. Don't piss in my face and tell me it's raining.
Don't do it in spite of. Don't just fucking spite it.
Well, doesn't it feel like that now? My favorite thing is, and the commissioner of the steroid era, is, when we're talking about steroids, is in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Of course.
But I'll be damned. Hey, can I get that bat you used to hit that 70-plus over when you broke McGuire's record and that ball? And we want to put it in, but I can't put you in, Barry. Great argument, and it's great, but Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame, and I'll stand by that forever. You can't talk me out of it. But if it's a legitimate argument and you say why you didn't vote and it's not personal, have at it. I think we need to vet the voters as well. Are we vetting them enough? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because not any of them walking on water would be a mistake.
Look who voted for the MVP. Look who voted for the NFL MVP, Sean. I mean, come on. I mean, the whole thing is a joke. All professional sports
ceremonies, no doubt about it. Hey, guys, Flash Funding, dedicated to helping business grow and expand by providing the cash flow they need exactly when they need it. And I'm so grateful for my guy, Dave, and what they're doing, and Brody over at Spindle Tap and Flash. I mean, when you're longtime friends and you care about grit, you care about doing the right things, God, gratitude, and grace, and they've applied that to making sure they help you too. Instead of waiting on receivables, businesses can access immediate funding to seize growth opportunities, cover operational costs, and maximum profitability. we partner with a diverse range of businesses, not just to support their success, but to offer financing solutions beyond what traditional banks can provide. Amen. With 14 years of industry experience, our team is committed to delivering exceptional service, and we understand that cash flow is the key to business growth. Who doesn't like that cold hard cash, JB? And we're here to help you unlock it. Flash Funding offers factoring services across the continental U.S., providing the same day funding with no monthly minimums or application fees. And when it comes to financial flexibility, we're the ideal solution for your business needs. There you see it, Flash Funding LLC. Say that twice. Working capital in a flashfunding.com. That's flash-funding.com. Hey, and grateful to have them aboard, and we're so fortunate. JB, let me bring you back in here. So I think we agree that Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame. I'm gonna throw a little wrath in here, the wrath of Sean. You see what I did there, JB? But I want to see your reaction on this. The Dallas Mavericks, we mentioned Kyrie Irving and the ACL, which is a bummer. Anthony Davis, just again, like I said, he just pulled another hamstring. I'm kidding. That's not mean. That's mean, isn't it? Boy, could you imagine if Anthony Davis's talent, if his durability matched his skill set? Can you imagine? Can you imagine how good? Because there are very few that talented that have played the position.
Is he a Hall of Famer? Is he a Hall of Famer?
Huh?
Is he a Hall of Famer?
No. Joel Embiid's not a Hall of Famer either. You can't play, even though he won an MVP. You can't miss as many as you played in. Now, he may end up being a Hall of Famer, but he's played in 480-something and missed 450. Stop it. No, but he'll get – now, of all the Hall of Fames, and this isn't disrespect to basketball people because there's some good ones, that's the easiest Hall of Fame to get in is the Basketball Hall of Fame. Make no mistake about it. Not easy, but easier than at least the other two, not counting hockey, which hell, the only season ticket I'd buy right now would be to the NHL if we had one here.
You know what is when they unveil the jersey when they get into the rafters.
Yep, when they're in the Ring of Fame or whatever. Yeah.
We talked about this on my show. Steve Kim brought it up to say, you think AD when they put his jersey in the rafter, it'll be a picture of him in street clothes with Charles Barkley's face next to it?
Yeah, and maybe a knee wrap on and and something to figure and some muscle stim to fix that hammy.
Fucking jeans and some Jordans on.
Yeah, absolutely not. You can't miss that much back. Durability is part of it, isn't it?
Yep.
Good gracious.
Nuts and guts. How about some nuts and guts?
That would help. All right, JB, as we roll along here. The Dallas Mavericks, the new ownership does not get it.
8%
They go and they
ticket.
make this trade where they got fleeced, and the Lakers are now a legitimate NBA Finals type team again. And LeBron, while LeBron's great and he's elevated his game, thank your lucky stars that Luka's there that can pump 34. I love a fat guy. I used to love fat Peebo Bryson. Remember Peebo when he got, not Peebo Bryson, but Luther Vandross. When Luther, God rest his soul, the silky smooth voice, fat Luther. And I'm not promoting fatness, so, don't come after me saying, Sean, you're promoting 4 Big Macs and a tab. My buddy used to go and he'd order big line, but he used to say, hey, I'll have 4 Big Macs and a Diet Coke.
They don't know what fucking tab is, Sean.
Yeah, they know. That's why I changed it to Diet Coke, because there was a tab in the pink can. Well, with Luther Vandross, it was like, when we're singing the college basketball theme song and it's Luther, I felt fat Luther was better. I don't care if fat Luka weighs 420, and it may only be a short window, but that dude can ball. He can. It looks like he's not moving. He'll still take you off the dribble and get to the rim. All those things, and he'll knock down threes. They are a legitimate NBA championship caliber team, and it feels like LeBron's rejuvenated with this. Okay, with that, now we go to the Mavericks. You get fleeced in a trade, and now Kyrie's not there because of his ACL. And then you decide to tell your season ticket holders that you're going to raise their season ticket prices minimum of 8%. 8% more in season ticket. Now you tell me, why understanding the room and recognizing it, I cannot wait till somebody and then they want to bitch about it. You know who never has a seat at the table in anything we do? In all this shit, they'll raise can you imagine going in, give me that foot long? JB, I know you say that all the time, and you're not even talking about a hot dog, but give me the foot long. And give me that foot long. And you see your phallic symbol in your hand. I know what you're thinking. Anyway, give me the foot long, and it's like $20 with chili and cheese and onions on it at a ballpark. Well, all that, and they keep throwing that, raising those prices. Yeah, can I get a beer? Yeah, it's Meisterbrow and near beer, and that'll cost you $20. Well, they raise the prices. You don't get a say in what goes on. They move you around if you're a day late with your season ticket payment, and then they want to charge you 8% on a horseshit organization. Now they're better. They got great fan base. Horseshit that they do in this to them. They're going to charge it after trading one of the 5 best players in the league and getting a guy who's been beat up. And now I want to charge you more. And then you got to go pay all these athletes. Athletes win. Front office. There is no team in this league going broke in any sporting event. It's the greatest investment in the world. It's an NFL franchise. You ain't ever. The value goes up. It feels like $1 billion every year. There is no way that you can look your fan base in the eye and say 8%. Now, not all of them live in Highland Park, dude, and live where Scheffler and Stafford grew up. Okay, you know where that area is at, JB. And to me, we lose so much of a fan base. And if you're a season ticket holder, I've been before, they're expensive. 8% on 25, 30, 40, 50 grand for a full season. It's probably far more than that now. Come on now, son. It's out of hand. So my wrath on them is get a clue, recognize the room. You ask your fan base to recognize the room. And when you don't, how in the world, JB, can I even look at them and take them serious?
Are they tanking to go to Vegas? Because that's the rumors, and it's sure now. Whitlock broke that news. I'm sure seeing a lot of maybe they don't want you to buy the season tickets because they want to fucking go to Vegas.
I'll tell you another thing. Oh, you thinking you're pricing people out on purpose so you can go? Here's one thing, JB, too. There's been a lot of talk about gambling, betting, and putting like what they do in Arizona, draft gigs or whatever, or and I've through the grapevine understanding that there may be. Underdog Fantasy may be building one in, where you got a sports book. And also, I'm in line for all of it. Can't wait. And in Texas, we need to legalize betting, and we would love it. You got to go to Louisiana, Oklahoma. But in Dallas, with all that space, the talk has been casino, building a sports book, gambling, all of that there in Dallas. So I'm convinced that if they don't get that passed and Lieutenant Governor Patrick continues to stand in the way, because Abbott in Texas, Ted Cruz, they all want it. It's stupid not to want it. That and legalize and a little gummy, a little weed. You legalize, you'll pay a lot of it. Then you may not have to charge us in Texas so much property tax. That being said, I'm talking to a guy in California. My bad, JB. How dare me? So the point is that it's just too smart, right? It's too smart to have betting and gambling.
We're too close to Vegas, so we're never going to get it passed here.
Right. Oh, Vegas doesn't want it. Why? Neither does Louisiana, because Vegas doesn't want it because you're taking all the – Texas is a big betting state.
Vegas is empty right now, by the way.
Exactly. And more now than ever. You can go get one at the – you're thinking, I can't get there at this time. You're damn right you can get a seat.
Shit. So, I drive right now.
Yeah, I think Dallas – I think it's one of these two, JB. The threat to go to Vegas is also the threat to it's a two-way street. Like, well, if we can get this gambling and get this done, we'll stay. But if not, we'll go right there to Vegas. We're going to price you season tickets. Not the corporate millionaire. He'll still buy his season tickets to entertain. It's the guy who goes to one game. Well, has to go in with 10 people to buy the season tickets. They go to 3 or 4 games a year, and it costs them. And that takes away from their vacation. Fans don't ever get a seat at the table. And I actually think, and I know this sounds crazy, I actually think we should, just like we do the committee for college football. We should find fans in every city that get a seat at the table to hear when the meetings come together to represent the state. Find somebody who's smart that can represent us. They're a lot smarter than a lot of politicians. I got news for you. Their IQ's higher than 5, so they can do that. So for me, the fans don't get a seat at the table. My wrath is simple. You don't understand. You screwed the pooch 16 ways to Sunday if you're the Dallas Mavericks.
No question, man. It's a joke. I hate that you guys are in Texas.
Yeah. All right, JB, let me get to women having to deal with men in sports. 40 plus Democrats don't want that. So it didn't pass. Now, I've tried to figure out what kind of trash wants you and your daughter to have to battle against men.
Demons.
We've worked years and years, meaning they have. When I say we, representing them, all these years to work on equal pay, equal. Hey, we got broadcasters and athletes. We got women's sports is at an all-time high, for whatever reason it is, at an all-time high of people are viewing and want to see it. But I'm all for it. Hey, listen, if a CEO and they bring in the same money, and why doesn't a CEO, a female, make the same as a male? They should. And when it gets to sports now, if you're not filling up a stadium for women and you get 5,000 there as opposed to 100,000, well, that's part of the distribution of the funds that make even pay. This isn't about even pay. This is about women who deserve better. We are allowing, and when people say, Sean, are you intolerant of men playing in women's sports? You're fucking right, I am. Completely. I got a daughter. You're damn right I am. And my daughter's old. She's out of the sports thing. She's older now, but in her 20s, but she's out of school. So there's that, and it's the same one because they're going to walk off the court and then they're going to go use the women's restroom too. And I'm intolerant of that as well. Those two. If you want to have a league for people who are transgender, and you want to put a league on and they'll fill it, have that. I don't have a problem with that. They're not my life. I mean, I think different than they do. I'm not interested in that. But if they want to go compete against each other, let them. I don't have a problem with that at all. But to waltz into the women, did you see in the track meet? A guy went 8 feet by in the long jump.
My buddy's coaching it, Cole. My buddies were fucking coaching in it.
Triple jump, long jump, and I mean,
it happened right here, Sean. It happened right up the fucking street.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, okay, it wasn't 8 inches. Even when Bob Beamon went 2.5 feet by, was it Mexico City in 68 or whatever it was in the long jump, and people like, what? 8 feet? And this is fair. Boxing, golf, scholarships, gold medals. I mean, we are at a point now. Who would sit, unless it's just pure hatred because you want to prove a point, who in their right mind thinks it's okay? Well, I know some do because it didn't pass, to send. And some of these folks that did it are the same people who have pined for women to have equal, and they should, who have pined for women. And it's like, well, wait a minute now. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. You want to give women the equal rights they deserve, yet you want to allow a man to go in and steal their gold medal because he's still a male, and yes, he's got born a biological male. Absolutely, I'm intolerant of men playing in women's sports. It should not be allowed. It's disgraceful, disgusting, and putrid. And women deserve better, and they fight. I shouldn't be swimming against Michael Phelps's, when I say Phelps, you know what I'm talking about. A good swimmer like him comes in there where there isn't. But you get my point, right? If a male goes in there as a good swimmer and finishes in last place with the men and goes with the women and dominates them, he'd become the Michael Phelps of swimming for the females. I'm not suggesting that Michael Phelps is at all. You get my point. I'm just talking about how good he is.
I beat this to a dead horse.
It makes me red in the face. Somebody's got to tell me why.
I beat this to a dead horse. If you imagine a guy, the whole thing with the swimmer that we had winning all those meets, I mean, her foot was this fucking big. She had a flipper, Sean. I mean, You don't think she's going to win? You don't think she's going to win with a size 14 fucking shoe?
Yeah.
I'm going to win. Here's the thing, Sean. I beat this to a dead horse on my show, and you and I have discussed it. We got daughters, obviously. I got a 26-year-old now, of course. But here's the thing. Anyone that thinks this is okay, I'm going to be honest, they should be castrated. I'm just going to be honest. I don't believe this is even a thought or a process. And I want to be honest, I disagree with you on one thing. The women in the room should be ashamed, especially the 20 of the 40 who voted.
I'm talking about the government. Yes, I agree.
Here's where I disagree, because those same women who will bitch and moan about the WNBA not filling the seats or getting the same money are the same women voting. And that's why Sage Steele, our good friend, and other ladies are coming out saying, no, hell no. Why are you voting? Why aren't you voting for women to be protected then? But you'll come out and bitch that they're not getting the same pay.
Because you know what? It's not convenient. It doesn't fit their narrative. And it doesn't fit them to be more criminal than they already are.
I'm sickened by it. I'm just going to be honest. I'm sickened by it, and I don't know where else to go with it. But this is the bottom line: is we're spending so much energy on putting this square peg into a round hole just to get back to normalcy. That now, after we get back to normalcy, and Trump takes office and says we're going to take this whole thing and end it all. Now we thought that was a huge step. Well, really, we just got back to the even playing field of ground zero when we should be ahead, Sean. We're now behind.
I'm going to save you money. Hey, the waiter brought out your steak and actually dropped it on the ground on accident. Blame the chef? Get the fuck out of here. And that's you. I mean, who doesn't want more money in their pocket? Who doesn't want women to compete against women, men to compete against men, buildings filled up wherever they go in sports? I just don't understand, because I got to believe that some of the women that voted that want the government of the 45 or whatever Democrats, I got to believe some of them have a daughter.
I don't get it.
About, you say you want equal rights, they're giving it to you, and then you're turning right around and taking the equal rights away by throwing a male into a female gym.
Somebody's paying them, right? No way.
Well, you want me to?
There's no way.
Should we run down that? Should we run down that laundry list of shit?
I'm just saying, Sean, right here in California, I just want to be clear. There's a women's basketball game at a high school here, and I got the video. I showed it on my show today, and it looked like fucking Sean Salisbury got the rebound and fucking drop-stepped and threw this girl off from her. We didn't know what was going on. The girl tore her ACL, was down on the floor. Come to find out, the fucking person was a guy in an all-girls high school basketball game. Like, come on, man. If I'm the parent of that girl, Sean, I'm fucking down there and I'm looking for the dad of that guy. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, I got to believe. And when you say this, people think, well, you're tolerant of this has to do with one thing. If you're transgender and that's in your family, now I got an issue when they tell me a 7-year-old can make a decision on whether they should go into surgery, but that's for another day.
Indoctrination of fucking
it's criminal as could be,
liberal.
But I just don't get the illness that these people who voted against this. I don't get it. And they got to have a daughter. And what do you say sitting across the table? Hey, honey, listen, we're going to bring this guy in who looks like me, meaning me, JB, and he's 6'5", 240, but hey, it's equal. And then you're going to turn right around and be pissed that we're not giving them the respect that you took away from those women. They deserve. This is as big a disaster and horseshit. If there's not, this is as criminal as it gets for these girls. It's crazy.
So it's all the same people, though, if you look at it, that don't care where our tax dollars go either, and they'd rather see it go out of the country. So it's the same fucking people. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, that's another ironic thing. We don't want you to keep money for us. We want to send it all away, but it's all about who the body is that's sending it, right? That's what it comes down to. So
same people that voted for this, by the way.
For me, JB, I have a hard time understanding how this is. How you walk out of that meeting on that vote saying we did the right thing.
Oh yeah, my daughter gets to go play Sean Salisbury tonight.
Yeah. Oh, she don't want to get dunked on like that.
We laugh and shit, but like you and I are like, I got buddies, Marcellus Wiley, fucking his wife got kicked off fucking Celebrity Housewives because she said no, my daughter's not going against your fucking boy in the 2x1 fucking relay.
And then they try to guilt trip you. They try to guilt trip you and saying, well, are you against? This had nothing.
Yeah.
Are you against? So you're against? So you're a bigot. You're against a man playing a woman's basketball? You're fucking right, I am.
Yeah. You know what the cool part is? You go into fucking, I see a guy just fucking hip toss abroad in wrestling now. What the fuck are we doing? Like, no shit. Here's a true story, and I'll let you move on. Last night, I got a text message from a buddy of mine who plays in a men's softball league. A 50-year-old. They're 50 and 40 to 50-year-old guys. I'm sure you do that shit. You probably play under pitch, but so look.
You're the guy who plays with the mush ball. Mush ball. And then says, give me a glove because my bitch ass athleticism can't get
you
to
probably want it. You want baby bounties, motherfucker? You want me to bounce it? Hey, so Sean, here's the thing. My buddy said his buddy's the fucking outfielder who's a former collegiate baseball player, and his daughter is a University of Tennessee SEC All-American. Just got out of college 4 years ago, so she's 26, 27 now. One of the guys gets hurt. She fills in at first base. Just shits and giggles, over the line type of league. And my buddy catches one and hits it down the first base line and shatters her orbital bone, breaks her fucking face last night. And saw my Twitter post and said, there's a fundamental issue. I'm 50. She's 26 in the prime of her life. The strength is so evident that if nobody understands the difference in biomechanics between a man and a female in a sports or some sort of contest that comes down to competition, you're just as ignorant as anybody out there, and you deserve to be fucking thrown in jail somewhere, man. It's literally criminal. It's criminal.
Criminal. I don't know how you could sit in there and you made this vote and you can consciously make that vote. I don't know how, and I don't know how it continues to be this way. It's absolutely.
That's like me. My old ass, 50 years old. I'm 49, but I got up and hit a fucking first, like your famous shot that you told Pat Perez and I that lasted 7 fucking hours. But your famous shot in Coronado. Here's the same thing, Sean. I hit a fucking shot down the first baseline and shattered this girl's orbital bone. I feel horrible.
Of course.
And I probably wouldn't even swing the ball. I'd probably say, you know what, it's all right. We'll wait until Johnny get off the shitter and get back on first base.
Yeah, JB, are you talking about the time? Are you talking about the time when I was playing with Torrey Pines?
Yeah, the fucking
prevailing wind coming in off the ocean. John Lynch's high school, Torrey Pines, right? And two balls, 1 strike, and decides to try to throw an Uncle Charlie by me into the prevailing wind, which had to be 70, 80 miles an hour, JB. And I turned he threw one in the cement mixer, and I hit it so far that I was jogging around the bases. I went to the dugout, got dapped up, and the ball hadn't landed yet. You mean that home run that you and Pat Perez I had to tell you about? I always like this one, JB, as I told you, into the prevailing wind, right?
Yeah, you told us fucking 400 times that night, by the way. You had a few shots, I think.
Hey, but that story is going to get bigger as this show goes on, too.
So she said.
Darren asked it real quick for Pete Rose. I know what people have heard it. Do you ever hear the story about him and Joe DiMaggio?
No.
He tells us a great story, and I know some of our viewers are listening, but I'm going to end the show with this. Pete comes on my show, and we're sitting in, and we didn't have, he couldn't say.
Don't fucking do it. Don't fucking do it. Don't fucking do it either. Don't fucking think you're getting over something on me.
We're in the studio, and Rose goes, I said, Pete, give me, he's a great storyteller. I said, Pete, give me one of your favorite stories. He goes, I got one for you. And I hadn't heard the story at that point. And Pete says, well, I'm a young player, and they come to me and say, hey, you want to go to Vietnam and represent baseball to go to Vietnam? He goes, are you out of your fucking mind? He goes, there's a war going on over there. It's hot. They said, yeah, but Joe DiMaggio is going to be there. Pete's a far better storyteller about this than I am. He goes, Joe DiMaggio? He goes, oh, yeah, I'm in. So to make a long story short, they fly over to Vietnam. They're in the middle of the jungle, and DiMaggio wants a shower. And Rose looks and goes, Joe, we got nowhere to shower. He goes, I want a shower. So they go over to the shower, which is like you see in the movies, right? One guy's pulling it down, the other guy's butt ass naked. You're sitting next to your teammate, and you're getting teabagged while you're giving him a shower, right? It's a Texas teabag, so a little bigger apparently after this story. So he's pulling this, and Pete said, and he goes, Sean, I'm dumping water on him. I see, and he says to myself, I'm sitting here, and he said his thought, and I thought the story was going to end when he said this. He goes, I'm sitting here in the jungle in Vietnam. I'm bathing Joe DiMaggio. I'm giving fucking Joe DiMaggio a shower. He said, and then he turned around and showered, and he said, I'll be damned. There's a penis. There's a man hanging from a penis. Meaning he turned around, and instead of a penis hanging, he said, there's a man hanging from a penis, which means, and I guess Joe DiMaggio was packing enough for 4 dudes. And then it all of a sudden clicked to the Marilyn Monroe stuff. Dude, the way he was fun. I'm sitting here showering Joe DiMaggio, and I'm bathing Joe DiMaggio. He turns around, all of a sudden I recognize there's a man hanging from a penis. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I'm like, well, Joe, hey. And Joe in his younger years, Joe wasn't exactly a supermodel, great player, but just as a loving story for Pete Rose. But the way Pete told it, he was so, Sean, this is Joe DiMaggio. I'm in the middle of the jungle in Vietnam. And there's a man hanging from a penis. So there you go, JB.
Man,
good way to game for the guy who should be in the Hall of Fame.
No doubt.
Please let it happen, even though he's not going to get to enjoy it.
You heard that story about Bobby Dees?
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's one of the top. I killed you with that. You can't use mine against you. Okay?
Has he heard it?
You can't do it.
I'm not. Come on, Coach. I'm on game now. Come on, game, coach. Come on now.
What do you mean? I crushed Triple E with that. I've already got him on our local show with that one.
Yeah,
And
on the one,
Triple
yeah.
E's pays attention to the D's nuts. You know what I'm saying?
Got to.
D's nuts. So there's your Pete Rose story. Anything else in your mind before I kick you off today?
No. Sam Darnold, where's he end up? Where's Aaron Rodgers end up? Where's Kirk Cousins end
The
up?
reason why I asked you for a teaser tomorrow for quarterback talk tomorrow.
But it's tag day right now, Sean. That's the only reason I bring it up. Who's going to get tagged? Who's not? Today it ends, and then we're 8 days away from free agency.
And
The
Darnold
12th
has not been tagged yet, right, JB?
No.
I'm not looking at notes right now, Jay. And Cousins obviously is not going to get tagged. That's a no-brainer.
He's gone.
Well, he's under contract. He can't get tagged, right? Is he?
Yeah, he's
Did they cut him yet? Did they cut him yet? Or they trading him?
Devontae Adams was cut today.
I know Devontae. Is Cousins still on? I'm sitting here thinking with baseball and college hoops. Did Cousins get cut, or is he still on the roster?
I think he's on the roster, but I think
He signed like a 3-year big deal. So they have to waive him, or cut him. They're going to have to do that because he's not guaranteed.
I'm hearing your take. I'm hearing Cleveland Browns. I'm hearing Colts for Kirk Cousins. It's going to be interesting. Either one of those places.
Are they going to try to slow down the process of Anthony Richardson? But you can't be a 47% completion guy and expect that there's not going to be competition, right? So we'll hit some quarterback. JB, we'll hit some quarterback stuff tomorrow. What's that?
He needs to learn how to do this. AR5 needs to learn how to do this.
Yeah, and not check out and not tap out in the game. Got to learn proper respect there.
Like a running back. Learn how to get the ball.
Well, you want him playing there. Hand it to him and let him run from the.
Yeah, hand him the fucking ball.
Remember my guy Ethan Horton was about 6'4", about 240. Ethan Horton was a big dude, man. What a great dude. Yeah. So we'll hit quarterback talk tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be some people that want to talk about, the men and women's sports, which is a tragedy that happened today or yesterday that they didn't pass that. It's embarrassing.
So is there a chance it still gets passed, though? Because Trump put it in. So, doesn't it have to?
Hey, well, no, it's got to go through. They've got to vote on it. And I don't know if even one Democrat, but 40 plus voted against it.
45.
I don't care if you're black, white, red, blue, Democrat. I don't care what religion you are. That cannot happen. Men cannot play in women's sports. So we'll hit on that. More baseball season rolling along. We'll have our predictions will be rolling along. The easiest prediction in the world is what a shock, pick the Dodgers to win the World Series as we go through spring training. And I've always here's something I want from you tomorrow. Slapdick. There you go. There you go. Here's what I want from you tomorrow.
LA in there, that's the Dodgers.
I've talked about this locally, JB. Tomorrow, let's discuss this. And maybe it really hit a hot button for some of our local because we got a kid named Cam Smith who we traded Kyle Tucker for in Houston, right? Traded Kyle Tucker, and he's about 6 foot. He looks like an outside linebacker who's one of those dudes who's chiseled out of stone. And so he was part of the prospects. He's the number one prospect now coming over from Chicago with the Houston Astros. And he's hitting like his OPS like 2,000 in spring training. Well, I brought up that football, we put him in fast. Basketball, we play him after one and done in college. Baseball is the one place that we resist. It's rare that you get a guy who's played a few minor league games. It's happened, but guys, Bob Horner never played a minor league game. It happens, but we seem to baby them more. We talk about pitchers. When is the time? When do you know the time is right? When you automatically got to send a guy down to Double-A to get reps? Why can't he get reps on the major league level? That's an area we'll discuss tomorrow, as well as football tags tomorrow as well, JB. And I can guarantee between now and tomorrow, the guests are going to start flowing for us. We wanted to establish something the first 2 or 3 days, and we'll get them flowing in and conversate with us on a lot of the other things we'll be discussing. Football on our mind, as well as baseball players, the youth. How long does it take them, and why does it take so long to bring them up most of the time? Big league pitching. If the big leaguers as good as the minor leaguers as good as the big leaguer, I'm not worried about the fragility of their confidence if they strike out. If you can't handle failure, I shouldn't have drafted you in the first place. Those topics and more tomorrow. JB, thanks. Let me get real quick before we say goodbye to my guys at the golden age of America is here, and it's Tricera. Opportunities are endless, and the only thing standing between you and success is capital. Tricera.com. Our advanced AI technology scans thousands of funding sources to match your business with the perfect lenders, investors, and credit options instantly, whether it's $250,000 or $100 million. We have programs for businesses of all sizes. No more rejections, no more wasted time. Just fast AI-powered results. It's phenomenal. I've had them run over this program with me. It's phenomenal. Ray Smith, CEO of Tricera, built this Fortune 100 funding system to give small businesses the same financial power as big corporations. It's your moment. The golden age is here. 2025 is going to be epic. Will you seize it or will you let it go? Go to ai.tricera.com now and let AI find the perfect funding for your business. That's ai.tricera.com, because smart businesses are smart funding. Triple E, thank you to Laura Palmisano, who does all our great work behind the scenes, as well as Craig Larson, and to you, JB. Great stuff, man. I loved it. We'll get at her again tomorrow. Much to discuss again with this franchise tag. Who's worth it? Who isn't? And where will some of these quarterbacks end up? Will we have a bridge system that you bridge a veteran to protect a younger quarterback, even though the younger quarterback's been there? And I teased yesterday, and we'll get to it, NIL's not going anywhere, and the effect it's had on college football and their coaches. And will they leave sooner than normal, especially with the money they're making now? It is Unpaved. Sean Salisbury, JB, Triple E. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and we sure appreciate you.
Peace.